but he was able to continue despite Steffi getting a drive-through later on. Sascha Lenz remained in 4th position for most of the race, but had a fantastic view of the battle in front of him, while the rest of the field jostled for position in their little duos and trios further down the order. Norbert Kish was still trying.
Ready for the start of race 2. As with every FIA European Truck Racing Championship race, it's a rolling start. Kurzim and Hahn off the front, up towards turn 1. This, the view on board with Adam Lachko in 4th. The field all bunched up as it heads towards the first of the chicanes. Moves up to 4th. Lachko leads the pack. The formation lap underway. The pace truck heads in before the long start-finish straight. The field is lined up. The lights go green. Who will be the leader at turn 1? Lachko makes best use of pole position, retaining his lead. Janiek and Kurzim run into the gravel trap, raising a lot of dust. Lap 9, positions 7 and 8. The fight between Stefan Fast in number 24 and Jamie Anderson. Anderson gets passed into 7th position and takes over the lead in the Goodyear Cup. Norbert Kish wins after 11 laps. A start-to-finish victory for the Hungarian, the champion of 2014 and 2015, ahead of Jochen Hahn and Sascha. After 11 laps on the Hungaroring, Adam Lachko drives home an impressive win with an incredible gap of 24.2 seconds over Anthony Janiek, who crossed the line in 2nd, but is handed a time penalty for track limits, which puts him back into 7th. Therefore, Norbert Kish finishes 2nd, Jochen Hahn 3rd, Albacete 4th.
Then the mid-pack once again is the best place to watch some really close truck racing. Shane Brereton and Stefan Fast nose to tail. Stefan Fast so desperate to make up time, he ran wide. Jamie Anderson came back into it. While all that was going on, the lead was changing. Andre Kurzim late on the brakes, up the inside, just edging the gap between himself and Steffi Halm. And that was Andre in the number 11 Iveco into the lead. Steffi Halm left with yet more attacking to do. Due to a penalty, he started at the very back end of the order. Having got past René Reiner and then Stefan Fast, he continued to carve his way through the order. So at this point, it was looking good for a reverse grid pole, but he continued to work forward later on the brakes, all the way up the inside into Jackie Xbox. Quick honk of the horn to let him know he's there. And Norbert Kish up yet another position. The next target for him was the Bagheera Freightliner of Teo Calvé.
The pit lane. The second start. Lenz maintains his lead, but number 44, Steffi Halm, profits, advancing from 6th to 2nd straight away. Behind her is number 1, Norbert Kish. Janiek has
leading the way and making the gap bigger and bigger as we go. Some interesting slides further down for Luke Garrett as he found the limits in his truck lap after lap. But the real battle to keep an eye on was 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Albacete, Norbert Kish and Sascha Lenz. The three of them very entertaining all the way through. Norbert Kish had so many opportunities but just wasn't able to get it done, even though
heading up to the first chicane, looking back from the truck of Sascha Lenz. Hahn attacks, then there's Kurzim, Kish and Albacete all queued up behind him. Hahn closes under braking, but there's no gap on the inside. Kurzim latching onto the tail of the championship leader. After that, Kurzim and Lenz have a tight battle for 5th. After 11 laps, it's Jochen Hahn to take the win. The 4 times ETRC champ finishes first ahead of Norbert Kisch and Steffi Halm. Chicane, Hahn overtakes the Frenchman and now has his chief rival firmly in his sights again. The race order at the end of lap 1. Lentz leads from Foreman, Kisch, Halm, Latsko and Hahn. René Reiner started from last place but is already up to 7th and now also passes Janiek. Anthony Janiek. Down to turn 1, always a pinch point. The field squeezes through the first 2 tight corners, the top 4 drivers managing to get away from the rest. The field is more than 16 seconds clear of the rest. On the penultimate lap, a battle for second develops between Bagheera teammates Calvé and Latchko. The experienced driver and master in the rain, and he makes short work of his younger teammate and overtakes him for second place. You can hear that something isn't right with Steffi Halm's race truck. It's the end of the race for the German on the penultimate.
René Reynaert alongside, and Andre Kursim trying to keep in touch with the Iveco driver leading the way. In towards turn 1 we go, René Reynaert on the outside, Andre Kursim looking to piece his way in towards second place. They're still side by side in the background. There's a little bit of contact. Elia Koloc finds herself all over the grass. Steffi Halm desperately trying to build up that speed from Jochen Hahn. On the exit of Lucien Bianchi box, very sideways all through the gravel, was a Stefan Fass pushing the absolute limits there, but you can see just how big that lead gap is between Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn, and it's only proceeded to go that way as well. Of course, Jochen Hahn, in the back of his mind, he's got to think about that overspeeding penalty. Sascha Lenz just in the background as well, doing what he can to stick with him. Across the line for the final time.
The beginning of lap 5. Number 3, Hahn passes number 1, Norbert Kisch. Shortly afterwards, 55 Adam Latchko overtakes 27 Gert Kurber. On the same lap, the Czech also passes number 30 Lentz before the start-finish straight in the Jaguar turn. Number 44 Halm is the race leader ahead of 3 Hahn, 1 Kisch.
By the time the drivers had completed 2 laps, it seemed like the spray was just something they'd have to deal with. There was plenty of it, but the drivers managed to still keep their heads down and get around safely. Everyone was itching to get going, staying nice and close together.
Halm still sitting second, but Steffi is under pressure from Albafetti and Latchko. Meanwhile, Hahn is in the fight with Lentz. Lentz is just ahead of Hahn as they come out of the hairpin, but the 2 of them running nose to tail here. On this track, Kisch is the next one to overtake the Czech. Here, the rear camera of Norbert Kisch. It's easy to see that Latchko has problems. Ryan Smith also tries to pass Adam Latchko. A bit of contact, but no consequences. Entering lap 3, Halm is sitting third. Behind her, the fight for the 4th position. Antonio Albafetti versus Ryan Smith. Both want to take the closing stages of the race. Latchko closely behind Hahn, trying to force him to make a mistake. But the 3-time European champion keeps his cool with all his experience. On the penultimate lap, down to the Villeneuve chicane. Latchko is late on the brakes, hitting Hahn. The MAN runs into the gravel trap, but Hahn. In dry conditions, one driver who only insiders might have had on their radar draws everyone's attention by posting the fastest lap. Norbert Kisch. The Hungarian seems to be getting on very well with his new old MAN truck from Sascha Lenz and puts his red number 40 race truck on pole for the first race. Kish is nearly 1.5. And as expected, Adam Lachko is the man to beat in wet and slippery conditions. The Czech racer in his Freightliner posts the fastest time in Superpole, nearly 1 second ahead of Anthony Janiek. Jochen Hahn is 1 seconds behind in third.
Edged their way through Sector 1, but Norbert Kish already building that lead. You can see the home hero, Antonio Albacete, trying to keep up with the top 3, and Teo Calvet pulling over to the left-hand side with some sort of issue. Elia Koloc up the road, very heavy contact with Heinrich Clemens-Hecker. Both trucks left stationary in the middle of the led him into turn 1 towards the first corner. Jochen Hahn followed him through with Sascha Lenz following suit, using all the curb on the exit, using a bit too much of the road, and then the gravel was Elia Koloc rejoining the circuit as safely as she could, and that was Stefan Faas running very wide in pure avoidance. The rain started to fall very early on. Through the Klein chicane we went, and you can